Greetings and welcome. Elaine Marolakos Edelson with Astrology Mojo. Want to help you get your mojo back. And if you are not familiar with me and my stance on mojo-ness in astrology, is that the planets do not make you do anything in astrology, and that when the planets make a move, you feel it. When you make a move, the planets reflect that by way of aspects and angles in the astrological world. And today we are talking about the north and the south nodes, which are adjuncts of the moon, and how they deal with your past lives and current and future trajectory. So the nodes are a pretty big deal. We're going to get into that. Today is briefly, I'm just going to cover what the nodes look like for each of the signs. So if you have your chart and you know what your nodes are, then we're going to talk about that. But on Monday, I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about the lunar eclipse in Sagittarius that happens on June 5th. Big deal. We're already in the energy of it. And then after that, I'll come back and go a little bit deeper into the nodes in June. Okay, so who's here? Come say hello to me. All right, let me just move some stuff on my desk so I can see what's happening. Oh, so if you don't know what the nodes look like, ta-da, there they are. Let me see if I can make them a little bigger. Ba-ba-da-bee. Okay, so the south node looks like, they look like horseshoes or headphones. And so that's what they look like in your chart. And they are always opposite. The nodes are always opposite signs. And they occur, they're always in a retrograde motion, and they will move into the next pairing of signs in the constellations approximately every 18 months. So when they make their completed cycle throughout all of the constellations and all of the signs, it takes about 18 to 19 years. So you can always look back 18 to 19 years ago to see what were the themes that occurred in your life, what were the topics that were happening. Let me just adjust everything here. So that you get a clue of what you're going to be facing and what you can go further with. Because the north node always shows you the door in front of you, the direction that you chose to head in this lifetime, karmically speaking. And karma is not good or bad, right? It's just a harmonizing of energy. Okay, so let me just move this. Hang on. Who's here? Come say hello to me. We have the north node. Hi, Christine. The north node, and it karmically speaking is your direction. It's where you're headed now. The south node is what you've already accomplished. It's what you've been attached to. It's your comfort zone. It can also deal with victimization and being adept at being invisible, or it can speak of what you've already mastered. That's the south node. And then the north node is where you're going. So let's get right to it. Hey, Sasha. So, okay, Sasha asks, I have my birth time and date and location, but all the charts I find online don't show me where my nodes are. Have you gone to my website, astrologymojo.com, and gotten your chart from there? You can get a free chart on my website, astrologymojo.com. You must fill in all of the information and one email per chart, per individual chart. So if you've gone there, you ought to be able to get the nodes because I have included the nodes in the calculations. So I hope that helps. Okay, so again, we're going to come back and talk about this at length in June. After Monday, I'm going to talk about the upcoming lunar eclipse in Sagittarius because there's so much going on in the world. La 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 la. Okay, so I have my notes, I have my magical drink. Okay, so what is it that we like to focus on sometimes when we're not even aware of it? We will always default to something we're familiar with. That's the human nature. That's what we do. That's our comfort zone. And that said, the South Node and the North Node can also be interchangeable. So let's say, I'll start with Aries. If you have a North Node in the sign of Aries, or you have a South Node in the sign of Aries, that means the exact opposite will always be Libra. So if you've got a North Node in Aries, then your South Node is in Libra. If your North Node is in Libra, then your South Node is in Aries. And so sometimes the information is interchangeable. And it shows you a better way of handling taking risks, moving beyond that safety net, that comfort zone. So with an Aries Libra node experience, let me just move that over there. We're looking at moving away from impulses and taking that risk to be independent. Now, if you have a North Node in Aries, this is the lifetime for you to branch out on your own and be more independent of your partner's definitions, opinions, or the mainstream or society's idea of who you should be. With a South Node in Libra and a North Node in Aries, you need to move away from putting other people first. Now that sounds selfish, right? And how do we go about doing that without feeling like we're being selfish or people telling us, oh my God, you're so selfish? Well, you have to look at in your chart where the nodes are, which houses they're in, because that also gives you a clue as to the type of relationship to your partnership harmony. So let's say you have a North Node in the 10th house of career and masculine parent in Aries. That would mean that your South Node, depending on degree, is pretty much in the 4th house. So we're moving away from just hiding out at home, being with the family, being a parent, and moving into the workforce. Or we're moving away from, conversely, if Libra is your North Node in the 4th house and Aries is your South Node in the 10th house, then we're looking at moving away from being all about you and solo in the work world and now bringing it home. Maybe working from home, maybe working with a partner, a spouse, a family member. You see, so we have to take into account the definitions of the individual signs and then the house placements. But in essence, when you have a North Node in Aries, you're looking to really forge that and cultivate that independent nature and to move away from what other people think you should be doing and putting yourself last, because the South Node in Libra is an indication that you have a fear of going it alone. And so you need to face that fear by braving uncharted territory and to find autonomy through beingness, through giving to yourself first. And that's not negatively selfish. Okay, does that make sense? So we're looking at the nodes and how we can take in the information just by sign placement alone, and then by looking at in your chart the different definitions of houses. Now, let's move on to, who's here? Oh, so Christine said North Node in Cancer, South Node in Capricorn. So we're just leaving that. We're just leaving that in June 4th is when the North Node will then move into Gemini. Remember, the nodes are always in retrograde, so they're moving backwards. So, Deb is here. Good morning, Deb. Hope everything got worked out with the tech stuff. And Shelby's here. Exact situation, North Node in Libra. South node in the 7th house. Okay, so yeah. So with the South node in Aries, you might attract childish mates because the North node is about harmonizing now, and you have to leave it go, let it be. So moving toward, just like Christine says, North node in Cancer, your last 18 months, I'll just switch to Cancer. Taurus will have to wait, right? And Gemini. It's about, let's talk about the nodes in Cancer and in Capricorn and that trajectory, which we're just leaving on June 4th. Cancer represents home and family, hearth, feminine, women's issues, writing, and also it's the nurturer. Capricorn is the builder. Capricorn, they're both cardinal energies, Cancer and Capricorn, which means that they are initiators of the zodiac. So Capricorn builds the building, and then Cancer comes in and makes it a home, makes it a business, furnishes it, puts energy into it that increases empathy. So with the North and South nodes in either Capricorn or Cancer, the whole deal really is about switching those gender roles that you might have grown up with. So where, mom was always home cooking and dad was out working. Now maybe you're the one who's working and you're a woman. And it's okay. It's okay to let go of those gender roles and to be the provider instead of always being provided for. It's about harmonizing these extremes. This is the karmic part, folks. No matter what sign it's in or what house it's in, we're looking at harmonizing. I'm doing the infinity sign with my finger. We're looking at harmonizing the extremes, what you've come from and where you're headed. And being more nurturing in the sign of Cancer, but not being aloof. We have to look at both the mundane and the esoteric definitions of these things, right? So, and Sasha says North Node in Pisces, found it. Hooray! That means your South Node is in Virgo, which we will talk about coming up. So with the Cancer Capricorn axis, we are looking at the moving toward having no fear when it comes to money, because Cancer and Capricorn energies can make a lot of money. So if you have difficulty with finances or with delegating to employees or with setting healthy boundaries or with, I want to work at home, but the kids are always knocking on my door, right? That's a boundary issue. Or I've been working at home and now I just need to get another place and have my autonomy there. So if you're looking at that, it's really important that you remember that the genders don't apply anymore. It's not a man's job. It's not a woman's job anymore. It's what is appropriate for you. So you're moving toward autonomy, Cancer Capricorn axis, and you're moving toward that feeling of self-nurturing and then providing for self and others. So think about that, Cancer Capricorn, because it's on the home life, professional career axis. And then, depending on where it is in your chart, it would have to do with those particular topics. Now, let's move on to, we're going to save Gemini and Sagittarius for last because that is where we're headed on June 4th for another 18-ish months. So remember, always go back 18 to 19 years and you'll see, unless you're 19 years old, then birth was your issue. Then it was, oh, wow, I'm here. What do I do now? But so looking at coming out of the attachment to, you might have mastered royalty in your last life, right? So, let's talk about Leo, Aquarius nodes. Because Leo is the energy of royalty and the ego sense of self and the bright shining sun, generosity, magnanimous energy, and also understanding itself through how other people see them. That's the Leo energy. So if you have a North Node in Leo, you're moving toward that sense of It's okay for me to be me and stand out and shine. Is it really? Because the South Node would be in Aquarius and saying, you've mastered being a team player. You've mastered being the humanitarian. Now go do something for yourself. That's the Leo-Aquarius axis. If you have a South Node in Leo and a North Node in Aquarius, it's time for you to stop making it all about you in a non-confrontational, non-judgmental way. Because a South Node in Leo says you've come from that place of being served, being secluded, provided for. Maybe you were the mother abbess or in a monastery and all your needs were met, South Node in Leo. North Node in Aquarius now means you need to get out there in the world and be that humanitarian and engage in those topics based on where it is in your chart that help you to become that bohemian, that radical team player that helps to motivate other people. Does that make sense? So if you have a North Node in Leo, South Node in Aquarius, that trajectory means you are harmonizing personal goals and needs versus the public and humanitarian goals and needs. So as you smooth out those wrinkles, and again, depending on where that might be in your house, in your chart, you have to look at both houses. So Leo typically rules the 5th house in astrology, which deals with children, play, risk-taking, creativity, having fun, really just blazing a trail. And Aquarius is all about the group. So when Leo and Aquarius come together in the nodes, it's about what are my needs? What are their needs? How do I make it work without feeling guilty? Okay, that's the Leo Aquarius trajectory. Does that make sense? If you're just joining us, I'm drinking my, it's hard to say, my butterfly pea flower tea. It's purple and I love it. It doesn't really taste like anything, but I add my own flavors via like stevia and monk fruit. Okay, who's here? Let me say hello. So Deb says North Node in Scorpio, South in Taurus. You tricksy gal, you. Just playing. Okay, so Brittany, North Node in Scorpio. Oh, so we have 2 North Node Scorpios. And we've got Shelby, exact situation, North Node in Libra. As we said earlier. And okay, so if you're just joining us, we're talking about the nodes in the chart. They are mathematical calculations based on the moon, earth, and sun trajectory on the ecliptic. Okay, that's as technical as I'm going to get right now. Let's keep going. Jay says Sag, North Node. Oh, well, we're going to talk about that last. So stick around. Okay, so next we're looking at Virgo and Pisces. Now, I can relate to this one personally because this is me. So with Virgo, now let's look at the energy of the Virgo energy. Was that redundant? Okay, for the past 3 nights, our dog has been up having to tap on the door and go out. She's had stomach issues, so we have not slept around here. I feel like a new mom. So let me start over. Today we're talking about we've already done that. Okay, so Virgo versus Pisces. In the nodes, Virgo rules the 6th house. It's mercurial. And it is an earth sign, but it's more adaptable and more energetic than the actual earth signs. So it deals with research, data, healing, health, even pets. That's the traditional definition of Virgo, and being the maiden of the zodiac with holding a staff of wheat to say, if we build it, it will come. If we research it, we can find the cure. If we focus on the data and analyze the information, we can perceive the truth. That's the Virgo. Now, the Pisces is all about, isn't it magical? it makes me feel good to give. I just want to keep giving. Because isn't that beautiful? Isn't that why we're here? We're in service. And so when Pisces and Virgo get together, especially the Pisces, is all about belief. And then Virgo is about taking action on that belief. It's actionable, spiritual values. Now, the Pisces part of the program is a bit too selfless at times and can fall into a hole of victimization. So depending on this trajectory, let's say your North Node is in Virgo and your South Node is in Pisces, you are moving away from being the selfless servant who has been treated like a victim because they've allowed it. This is a harder pairing because it is the belief of the Pisces node, say South Node, to give at the sake of the self because that's what you do. There's no question. And then moving toward the North Node feels nitpicky, feels rude, feels judgmental, feels critical. I can't, that's just who they are. A North Node Virgo, South Node Pisces would look at someone and go, that's just who they are. And so their boundaries need to be intact. Now, let's flip it. Let's flip it to the North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo. If that is the case, then we're looking at leaving the data head behind. You cannot always just look at the information and say, well, it says right here on the paper that it says, so it must be true. We got to leave that behind and start trusting and gain that belief system in the intangible, in the mystical, in the magical, in the spiritual. So the North Node, but remember, the South Node represents what you've mastered. So you've mastered spiritualism if your South Node is in Pisces, but you've also possibly mastered victimization. Yikes. So North Node in Pisces means you need to start opening up to the magical realms of what's possible with body, mind, spirit. See, Virgo would look at the body, mind, spirit and say, okay, spirit is the source, mind is the matter, or creates the matter, body acts it out. So the spirit inspires, the mind organizes it, the body enacts. That's what Virgo would say. Pisces would say, it's all the same thing, really. I mean, when you come down to it, matter is matter is matter, whether it's 3D matter or whether it's the energy that creates the matter. That's what the Pisces energy would say. So if you've got this trajectory, look at where it is in the houses. Now, I'm looking. I don't see where Sasha's North Node is, but North Node in Pisces means this is the world of the spirit now for you. But in any pairing, you need to be careful of going to extremes. Remember, these are always opposite. So look back 18, 19 years and what happened for you, whether you have a North Node in Virgo or a North Node in Pisces. What happened for you that helped you to open up to, I had a dream, I had a psychic experience, I had something happen and I just knew it. Then I had to fact check it. And there it was. I got my validation. Ultimately, the Virgo Pisces North and South Node is all about healing. And you may come across a health issue in your lifetime that needs a tremendous amount of faith and trust coupled with research. Because the axis of Virgo and Pisces is I'm going to believe that I can heal. And then once I gather my data and I have my healing, then I'm going to turn around and share it with the world. That's my selfless service. That's me giving back. Does that make sense? So ultimately, the Virgo Pisces pairing in the nodes is all about healing in this lifetime and using mysticism and research and data to compile that to trust, to to trust that inner knowledge. That's what that's about. Now let's move on to Scorpio and Taurus. Hey, who's here? Hi, Amy. So we're talking about the north and the south nodes in your chart through the signs, and the north and south nodes are always opposite each other and repeat themselves every 18 to 19 years, but also have an 18th month cycle before they move and retrograde back into the next sign. On June 4th, the nodes will now move into Gemini and Sagittarius. But now let's talk about Taurus and Scorpio. Okay. The Taurus part of the program is all about values and earthly sensuality, being really grounded and utilizing the resources of the earth. So if you have a north node in Taurus, you're really moving toward valuing, because Taurus wants to value security. That's its main objective. And to be loyal to those that also value the earth, its resources. So North Node in Taurus is really about having this ability to help things grow and value the results, being patient, and utilizing the earth for healing and for further growth. So a lot of times that can deal with finances and security, right? So if I take $10 and invest it, over time, compound interest and Einstein tell me that I can make a lot of money. So Taurus is Gucci with that. You know, they're like, yeah, okay, so on the path, plodding along. Now, if you've got a north node in Taurus and a south node in Scorpio, it means you're moving away from mistrust and the secrets. A lot of times it's religious secrets, financial secrets. Like, I know I'm going to get to the head of the line because if you tell people there's a pandemic, there's going to be no more toilet paper. The Scorpio South Node energy would be the first online to buy out all the toilet paper. Now, let's flip it. If we have a Scorpio North Node and a Taurus South Node, we're looking at moving away from being afraid to make a change. We're looking at moving away from, I've got my last $10 and I don't know, I'm just going to hold on to it just in case for a rainy day. That's the South Node in Taurus is saying, I don't trust, but I value what I have and I need proof. You have to show me. Yeah. I don't know it until I see it. South Node in Taurus. Because in your past lives, you've worked hard. You've seen the crops grow over time. It's taken seasons. You don't believe quick fixes. You don't believe in mystical, magical solutions. North Node in Scorpio would say, I have an intuitive sense that tells me they are lying. I don't trust them. Therefore, I will take that information and just hang on to it. North Node in Scorpio would also look at being using spirituality as a way to heal deep-seated fears that the South Node in Taurus is afraid to even look at. So it could also deal with being betrayed or having been abused in a previous lifetime, this trajectory, whether or not the North or South Node is in Scorpio. It could deal with religious persecution, having the bottom drop out from under you. Literally, you could have lived in the year whatever, and you worked on the farm, and your father, sold the crops, and then your parents died of the plague, and you're 12 years old, and you're on your own. And you're like, I got to find a way to live and survive. So survival becomes the very stubborn root. And then to move out of that, mistrust the betrayal of, they left me here. It's no one's fault if someone dies of the plague. But if someone cheats, steals, robs, lies, that's a vibe that Taurus Scorpio does not abide. Now, I'm a Taurus. My husband's a Taurus rising. I'm okay with an employee, a vendor, someone saying, oh my gosh, I goofed up. I'm so sorry. I made a mistake. I was you yesterday. I am you today, or I will be you tomorrow. But if someone lies to us, that's it. Done. Bye-bye. And so, but it's without the judgment. It's like, I see you. I see you. Wait, what is that? Avatar. I see you. Does that make sense? Who had the Scorpio? North Node Scorpio, South Node Taurus. Okay, so Deb, also Brittany, moving toward using sexual energy, not to manipulate. We have to raise that vibration of sexual energy to bring in the Taurus sensuality. So it's romance. It's feeling good about your life, your body, your environment. You know, Taurus loves the aesthetics of something. So with North Node in Scorpio, it is really about moving toward harnessing your power through sensual, and sensual, people think sexual. It's not. Sensual is I feel. That's sensuality. I feel safe. Because we need to value safety and trust. This is the axis for Scorpio and Taurus. So, you know, warm water showers, or instead of shocking thrown off a cliff into a pool of freezing temperatures, you know, it's like, I don't trust you. You pushed me, you know. You want to be guided through mysticism, through understanding your power, that it's not a manipulation. South Node in Scorpio comes from the manipulation, comes from the possessiveness, the mistrust, the dark in the shadow, and moves toward, you know, it's like the old Kabbalistic, metaphysical, you know, men in shrouds, you know, chanting in thick smoke in a ritual. It's like, ooh, what are they doing? You know, they must know something. But now it's moving toward that feeling of safety and trust. Feeling. Trusting the feelings. That's using intuition. But not judging it. Not judging like, oh, I don't trust that person. I don't know why. Maybe it's, you know, if you've got a South Node in Taurus, it's, I don't know if I trust that person. Now you want to discover why. And be validated in your fear and move away from the South Node toward the North Node of trusting. I don't trust them because, I found out later they cheated someone. I found out later they're lying. Okay, so I've been validated. So that's trusting your intuition, Scorpio, Taurus. Make sense? And utilizing that energy in a sensual, sexual way, ultimately, so that you can have sexual healing. Because the abuse in the past life or lives is evident with a Scorpio Taurus, and it affects money. So someone might say, I'm not worthy, or I don't want to take advantage of because I've been taken advantage of. And then this may not be a conscious thing. So sexual healing is necessary, sensual healing, to feel that it's okay to use your intuition and you step back into your power. Now, so just to cover, you're welcome. So just to cover the last one now, Gemini, Sagittarius axis. We are moving into a Gemini world, right? The sun is in Gemini right now. Venus is in Gemini. Mercury is about to be or is it already? No, Mercury is in Cancer. Sorry, by June 4th, and then it retrogrades back. And we're going to have a lot of stuff going on, especially with the lunar and solar eclipses. So the Gemini Sagittarius polarity in the nodes represents information, fact-finding, gathering, medicine in the way of searching for the truth. That's the Sag vibe. Sagittarius wants to find the truth through culture, through new experiences. Gemini gathers the information and then disseminates the information, learns and then teaches. On the low end, Sag, Gemini, it's the gossip, it's the nonstop interruption, it's the scattered brain. On the high end, it's the, oh wow, I know somebody who could help you. Let me go through my Rolodex. How old am I? Let me go through my phone and I'll scroll for that person who can help you. So, if we've got a North Node in Gemini and a South Node in Sagittarius, you're moving away from cynicism and the attachment to stuff. The Sag vibration on the lower end, and this is not a judgment at all. It just means not as conscious as you could be because you fear. And that's for any sign, any node. Conscious awareness of poverty consciousness brings you to that place of, oh my gosh, I lost everything. South Node in Sagittarius. I lost everything. Or they took it from me. And now I'm just going to have to go it alone. I'll figure it out. No one needs to help me. North Node in Gemini is, I'm going to learn what it is that helps me so I can help other people. And I want to make sure those facts are correct. I want to really do some thinking about this instead of traveling to go find the answer. That's the Sag vibe, wants to go find the answer and then share it in a networking kind of a group. I have a friend who's a Sag rising sign, always, for years and years and years. I've got this new Hawaiian Lomi Lomi massage person coming to my house who wants to join, or I've got the Akashic record reader coming to my house who wants to come. So it's always been the search for what's possible. That's the Sag vibe. Now the Gemini North Node is more about being open to the possibilities. Isn't that fascinating? I want to look. Let me think about that. I want to look that up. Where can you give me the link to that, or where did you hear about that? I want to correlate and corroborate information. That's the Gemini North Node. That's what we're moving into as a collective right now for the next 18 months. So you can always go back 18 to 19 years and see when the nodes were Gemini Sag. What was going on in the world? What were you thinking about? What were you ready to let go of regarding cynicism or judgment? Because the Gemini Sag vibe on the lower end can judge unnecessarily, can, throw out tweets about people that are untrue, make false accusations, call people fake. That's the Gemini Sagittarius vibe on the low end. On the high end, it's, thank you so much for that information. I am excited. I'm so excited. I have a new book. I have a new research paper. I have a new study program. I'm going to learn about this, and then I'm going to turn around, put it together in a digestible form, and then I'm going to share it with you. So, the spiritual growth that comes through healing, that's what all the nodes are about, because remember, these are adjuncts of the moon. So it's emotional healing. You're healing a karmic past. So if you've got, let's say, a South Node in Gemini, then what you're looking at is the North Node in Sagittarius. So with the North Node in Sagittarius, you're ready to take that information and then go travel. Go take a risk and say, I'm going to go out on a limb here, Shirley MacLaine, and talk about reincarnation to a group of Hasidic Jews. Who knows? Maybe I'll make a friend. I hope I don't make any enemies, but I think it's time we start sharing the cross culture. I think it's time we start looking at not just what was, or, the definitions, again, on paper, because they said, but it's, someone told me that if I took vitamin C, ascorbic acid, I would feel so much better. And then I took it and I got the runs for 2 days. So that didn't work for me. Maybe it was the dosage. Maybe it was the combination that you took with other things. That's what the North Node is going to look at. The open door is, let me experience the data for the purpose of healing. So let me look at medicine as a whole, not just allopathic, homeopathic, naturopathic. Let me look at different modalities and come out of judgment and be open to, I heard a Sag say once, many years ago, chiropractors, yeah, they just want your money. And it's so not true. But then you look at opening to a possible truth and leaving judgment behind. So if you've got a South Node in Gemini, you've been disabled by or paralyzed by or perfected the data. Now you need to experience it. Is it true? Really? Is it true? I don't know. There's liposomal vitamin C. It's centrifuged with water so that when you take that, there's no upset stomach whatsoever. If you are constipated and you take ascorbic acid vitamin C mixed with magnesium powder, wow, there's a solution for constipation. You know, that's the North Node in Sagittarius, also in Virgo, because it's the healing vibe. And this is the medicine, factual data vibe, Gemini, Sag, looking at, wow, I need to go experience, that new thing where I could sit in a tent and do a sweat lodge. Let me do a sweat lodge. I want to go on a voyage. I want to do a spiritual quest. So you see the North Node is going to open the door, but in between the nodes, there's always this sense of fear that what if I don't get it right? What if I should stay back in the past? I don't know. Does this make sense? Is this helping? Let me see who's checked in. You're welcome, and you're welcome. Okay, so Jay has a Sag in Sag North Node. And also with the lunar eclipse coming up on June 5th in Sagittarius, people with the nodes in Sagittarius, whether they be south or north, are really going to feel this. Also the Gemini, Venus in Gemini. It's going to be about opening up to your expectations that are unconscious. It's what you don't know that you don't know is going to open up. And the fears come out. A lot of people say, well, if I talk about, that disease, I'm going to bring it into my aura. No. You'll let go of the fear, perhaps. So it's a good thing to ruminate over these fears now so that you can start to open up, be open, right? Sagittarius, be open to what's possible. Move away from the judgment. Understand this statement. I was you yesterday, or I am you today, or I will be you tomorrow. And that alleviates the need for judgment because it opens up compassion, right? Does that make sense? Oh, Christina, you missed my live. That's okay. Pisces, thank you for showing up. Today you will hear a Sag telling you to energy test your vitamins first. It's true. You have to experience the data. You have to put it into practice. So when we move into this collective now, on June 4th, the North Node will retrograde back from Cancer into Gemini. The South Node will retrograde back from Capricorn into Sagittarius for the next 18-ish months. And what we're going to be doing is looking at what medicines are actually going to help the data to support. How are we going to disseminate this information? Who is telling the truth? Where are the fact finders? What are the journalists doing? What are the doctors saying? Right? Do we not see this coming already? And to be open to what is possible and to move away from blame and judgment, but yet hold others accountable. That is where we're going in the next 18 months with the North Node in Gemini, the South Node in Sagittarius. Okay, so I'm coming back on Monday. We're going to be talking about the South Node. No, we're not. I lied. Where are my nodes? We're going to be talking about the lunar eclipse in Sagittarius. So we're already in the energy. So to prepare even more, I would like you to look at where Sagittarius is in your chart. Even if you don't have a planet in Sag, you've got Sag in your chart, because every house cusp is guided by a constellation and a sign. So wherever Sag is in your chart, this is probably the area that's going to be most highlighted during the next 2 months. All right, but we're going to talk more about that on Monday. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being. We are in a moon void, so do be careful if you're listening to this live, driving. Just pay attention on the road with your judgments. We don't want to hurl anything that would cause harm in this world. We're already looking to heal, right? We're looking to heal. Thank you for being here, folks. Thank you for being so sparkly and for applying this information. I'll be back on Monday to talk about the lunar eclipse in Sagittarius. Have a beautiful weekend, and I'll see you then. Be well. I wish you peace.